could, particularly the rightist terrorists, could exploit differences of religious sect, but it would be, I think, wrong to presume that religion is at the root of the problems and terrorism in Turkey. These differences are on the surface, and Turkey does not face the problem that some other Islamic countries have been facing. That is to say, the problem of choosing between modernization, of going back to outdated traditionalist values. The movement of modernization in Turkey and democracy in Turkey are well beyond the points of return.
Af Tyrkiets 43 millioner indbyggere er 99% muhammedanere. Langt størsteparten tilhører den ortodokse sunnitiske gruppe, mens et mindretal på 3 millioner er shiiter, den sekt, som har haft stor fremgang i Iran. De troende er yderligere opdelt i mange ordener med stærk social og politisk solidaritet blandt medlemmerne. Den tyrkiske forfatning forbyder religiøs diskriminering og udnyttelse af religionen til politiske formål. Alligevel har venstreorienterede grupper søgt at vinde tilhængere, frem for alt blandt shiiterne i det underudviklede østlige Tyrkiet, som holder fast ved islams århundrede gamle sociale lærer om lighed og ligeberettigelse for alle. Samtidig har højreorienterede grupper søgt at vinde flertallet, sunnitterne, for sig. I Kahramanmaraş var det sunnitter, der forøgede massakrer på shiitter. Undtagelsestilstanden vedtaget af parlamentet her har medført oprettelse af militærdomstole, som skal behandle forbrydelser mod staten, forbud mod besiddelse af våben og sprængstoffer, uddeling af brochurer og løbeblade og restriktioner for strejker, lockouter og politiske massemøder. Foreløbig gælder den for 2 måneder, men kan forlænges. Et par venstreorienterede grupper er blevet forbudt. Ecevet gik først med til indførelsen af undtagelsestilstand efter nogen tøven. Han er socialdemokrat, ønsker et tyrkisk demokrati efter nordisk model og er ikke glad for at lade militæret spille en rolle på den politiske scene. Han blev nødt til det efter et år med 1400 dræbte og 6.000 sårede som følge af terroristaktivitet.
Terrorism had been fostered in Turkey for over 10 years, and increasing numbers of people were trained in paramilitary camps for several years in Turkey. That is to say, the extreme rightist terrorist elements. There were, of course, some extreme leftist terrorist elements or militant leftist terrorist elements who were also trained outside the country. And while the terrorists of both the right and the left were armed with the most modern armory and were in most cases rather highly trained or educated people, the police forces, the security forces, the internal security forces in Turkey were very much neglected over the years. They were held as passive spectators before terrorism, and the efficiency of the state security forces, the internal security forces, had very much deteriorated, both in material and moral terms. And the leftist and rightist terrorists were more or less left alone to deal with each other, while the rightist terrorists were given official encouragement and protection for many years. It was for the first time in many years during our term of office, which started early last year, that the state began to face and challenge terrorism seriously for the first time in several years, without differentiating according to their ideologies, that is, without differentiating between rightist or leftist terrorists. They had not been accustomed to being challenged by the state in that way and degree, so they were frustrated, they became bitter, and they reacted very strongly. In the meantime, we tried to improve a lot of our internal security forces. Of course, this takes time because it's a matter of reorganization and better education, apart from equipment. However, by the middle of last year, we were able to increase the efficiency of at least the supporting services of the internal security forces to the degree that most terrorist criminals could be caught by the state. So that as from the beginning of last summer, there were every day at least 2,000 terrorists under arrest in Turkey, the majority being rightist and the minority being leftist militant elements. They were mostly arrested for their criminal acts. This, of course, again increased the frustration of the terrorists even more, and they considered it as a matter of life or death to stand up against the state authority and to challenge it. We were also able to see to it that the schools and youth hostels could no more be used as areas of terrorism. For the first time in several years, uninterrupted education was restored in almost all establishments of higher education for students of any ideological group. When the terrorists were left in a position where they could no more exploit the schools and institutions of higher education as areas of terroristic activities and clashes, they resorted to the hit and run kind of terrorism, hoping that thereby they could intimidate the people, they could shake the people's faith in democracy, and they could weaken the support of the people to the present government. However, the Turkish people acted in a very patient and determined way. Their faith in democracy was not shaken at all, and we always felt the support of the people in trying to combat terrorism. In fact, although terrorism remains rather widespread in Turkey, I can say happily and with confidence that they do not enjoy the protection of the masses. When this hit and run kind of terrorism also did not yield the results that the terrorists expected, particularly the extreme rightist elements began to concentrate on areas where they could exploit differences between religious sects and could provoke the followers of one sect against one another, thereby trying to change individual terrorism into mass clashes. When this happened and yielded the tragic results that we witnessed in the town of Kahramanmaraş, we felt that we had to declare martial law. Some observers think that it's a radical change of attitude on our government's part to decide to declare